Welcome, welcome. It's so great to be with you for our bonus session in creating your own career. And we've had a wonderful opportunity over these last weeks to consider the 10 steps or stages in the creation process, all the way from the idea of chaos down through the ways in which we can be and encounter and develop and experience and imagine and find symbols and forms and eventually find our sense of destiny and eternity, and how this process is never over and we are never done. And that is such an exciting piece of the experience, is that we can constantly recreate ourselves. So today, for our bonus session, I'm going to do a demonstration, and it's going to be how to take the mandala and make it into a map for the year. And there's a lot of different ways in which this can be set up, and I'm going to demonstrate it now so that you can have an opportunity to have a hands-on way to create an active meditation on returning to the work of your heart. So let's begin. I'm going to reposition my camera so that it is looking down at the paper, and I'll begin our demonstration. Hopefully I won't drop the camera. Okay, there we go. I'm going to move this in a little bit and come down even a little bit further. There we are. So now hopefully this will be seen easily. What I've got is we are going to remind ourselves during this exercise of the 5 universal shapes that Angeles Ariane discovered in her work with cultural anthropology and traveling the globe and discovering that no matter where she went, no matter what the timeline was, it was possible to extrapolate 5 primary shapes: the circle, the square, the triangle, the equidistant cross, and the spiral. And that we can find these 5 individual shapes no matter where we look in culture. I'm going to grab something real quick here to show you that I love this book. I'll put it into our resource book that's going to be a book list that's going to be given to you. But this is a great book on design, and the pages are gorgeous, and it shows how these elements of design are found again through all cultures and in nature. I mean, I didn't even really put a focus upon nature, but definitely we find these elements of design all through the natural world. And it's really exciting to be tapped in. Again, I call them a leveler, because when we know about these 5 elements of design, the artist's alphabet, as I refer to them with the children, it's endless what we can see and how we can notice things in a new and more exciting, focused way. And I guess if we could say that if there's any one reason why the 10 steps and stages are useful for us to be aware of, is that these 10 steps and stages bring us focus. So the universal shapes are one step that we have used to allow ourselves to connect with these steps and stages. And now today I'm going to create a mandala that shows you how you can create your own meditation on the circadian rhythm of the year mandala. So I've got a piece of paper. It's really nice watercolor paper, but you can use any kind of paper whatsoever. And I've got a plain black Sharpie pen. Let me see if I can show that to you. I love these because they don't bleed through paper and they give a really nice fine line. I hope you can see that. I have, that's just my tools, the paper and the pen. And then we've got a dinner plate for our circle, reminding ourselves that the circle is the most paradoxical of the 5 shapes because it gives us a sense of connection to the self, the circle of the self, as in our face, for example, or the breast, or a hug, or any number of ways in which we can, the eyes, the nostrils of the nose, the O of the mouth, all these things represent circles. So we find the circle very much present within us. And I've just switched out to a Sharpie pen, and I'm going to do my main shape around the plate with a Sharpie pen. So I'm making a circle. Kind of bugged out on me there at the end, but I've made just one circle. And now I'm going to make another circle. So I've got a little template there for the center. And I'll make another circle in the center. Circle within a circle. This is a hands-on meditation exercise that you can do at any time. Circle within a circle. Very simple. Now we want to mark the 4 directions. The direction of the north, the direction of the south, the direction of the east, and the direction of the west. Again, just very simply adding those 4 points, compass points, in for the beginning of our meditation on the circadian mandala. We want to remember that the center of the circle represents working from home. So we can write home in there. And we can write any other reminders. In some of our courses, we talk about how the ancestors live in the circle, the home circle. Old friend lives in the home circle. The angelic forces live within the home circle. Any of the unseen guides, guardians, teachers from the unseen planes, they live in the home circle. They're right there with us all the time. So we can add in any of those indicators that we want to, and we can shift them out from time to time depending upon who we're calling in and what kind of help we're asking for. So once we have home designated along with our 4 points on the compass, now we begin to, over at the east horizon line, we begin to add in the 3 moons of spring. And you can do this any way you want, but since we've got the symbols, we can add circles, a circle for April, a circle for May, and a circle for June. And that gives us our spring segment of the calendar, the 3 circles. We're going to do that all the way around, 3 circles in each quarter. So then we can go over to a circle for July, a circle for August, and a circle for September. Then we can go on and do a circle for October, November, and December. Now we're up at the north point on our calendar, and we come down to the east again with January, February, and March. And so we've made this border that represent the months of the year all the way around. So we can label those, of course, and we start in the east with April because we want to be aware that each April we have a new moon in Aries right after the spring equinox. The spring equinox takes place at the end of March, and the new walk around the energy of the natural year begins in April. So we start with April and the east. The east represents beginning, dawn, birth, and you might think of other indicators that represent for you starting. April is our first moon month on the natural calendar each year. So we put in April, followed by May, followed by June. And we want to realize that we are always attempting to get back home. We don't want to stay on the outer edge of the circle and just keep going in circles all of our life. We want to have a way to get back into the center. And so we make an equidistant cross from the east to the south, to the west, and to the north. We begin to notice how our mandala starts to take shape. An equidistant cross representing a pathway in from the east, from the south, from the west, and from the north. Okay? We're doing an exercise here. This is our bonus creative prompt for creating your own career. This is a beautiful stabilizer, something that you can do in any size. You can do this really miniature on a little piece of paper, on a scrap piece of paper. I've gotten to the point where I can easily create a mandala in just a matter of moments, but this is, how we're mapping it out right now. So once we've got our outer circle, our inner circle, which is always our destination, and our pathways in to our destination, then we begin to identify the pathway for the east for April, May, and June, the pathway for the south for June, July, August, and September, the pathway for the west for October, November, and December, and the pathway from the north, January, February, and March. And so we do that by making any shape we want, but I tend to like to do almost like a triangular arrow, and we have 3 pathways for each of our gates in. And so we can just do a pattern that indicates those 3 pathways, 3 stones. And of course you could do this in color and really make it pop, but I'm showing you very simply how to create a circadian mandala that represents a calendar of, it actually is a calendar of a day or a year, and also of a season. That's getting ahead of us right now. So now that we have our pathways, we have our months identified, and we want to identify the months all the way around. And then we begin to realize that April has a keyword, and it is, I'm going to make this a little stronger in color so you can see it. April's keyword is clarity. So we put our attention on clarity each April. I'll grab a different color just to make it more visible for you. May, doing in green, May's keyword. So May and its keyword on the east path, its keyword is wisdom. And then in June, we have the month of June, and we have the keyword of wisdom. So I made them in orange. So you can see how each quarter, each of the quarters has 3 moon months and 3 pathways, 3 steps or pathways in, one correlating with each moon month for whatever segment of the year we're in, divided into the 4 seasons of the year. So of course we know that this first quadrant that we're working on is spring. And you can figure out any way that you choose to identify the different parts of your circadian mandala as you're going around. And I'm just going to put in summer, and then we have fall, and then we have winter. And we're always bringing ourselves back home. I love how things switch themselves out. I thought I was going to do all in black and white, but now we begin to add color. So we've got the spring quadrant, moves over to the summer quadrant, moves up to the fall quadrant, moves over to the winter quadrant, where we are right now. We've just started this. These are all 90 days. Each one is approximately 90 days. So it's a block of time. And each of these quadrants has a midpoint, which is about 47 days in the middle. So that's about 6 weeks. This is 12 weeks, 12 weeks, 12 weeks, 12 weeks, and we can divide it up into 6 weeks. You begin to see how you can use your circadian mandala as a project map. You can put your project on your map and say, well, it's springtime. I've gotten clarity around my vision for this year, and I'm going to map it through the spring and the summer, and then I'll reflect on it, which is what we do when we get over to the west pathway, the west gate. We begin to reflect, and through the fall and through the winter, we revise and recreate our vision so that we're ready to go as we come into each springtime. We begin again. So it becomes a really beautiful way to work with time in a fashion that we call making progress without pressure. So you can see from what I've done here how you can continue on around the circle, filling in each of your months, and your pathways are going to be individuated in this way. I'm going to walk you through them so you can make quick notes, and then you can fill in your own mandala. So when we finish spring, April, May, and June, and we get to the south gate. The gate opens, and we open up to summer. And summer takes us through these 3 stages, which are growth, trust, and love. Growth for July, trust for August, and love for September. Every single year, if you just place your focus on whatever the keyword is for the particular moon month, you're going to gain insight and awareness. It's going to support you in keeping your focus. You're going to continue to have whatever the vision or your fondest dream is at any given time, and you're going to grow it, or you're going to trust it, or you're going to love it. And when you get over to the west gate, our 3 keywords for the west being right across from the east, offers us an opportunity to come back home and reflect. What did I start back in April? And what am I experiencing now as I go into October? So October, November, and December make up the fall quadrant of our circadian calendar. And the stepping stones that take us back home through the west gate is the first one is experience. Experience leads us to introspect, and introspection leads us to strength. All pathways lead home. We're always coming back to our center, to the place of balance and harmony within. And when the world out here throws us off balance, these pathways remind us to come back home again. I'll walk you through in a moment how to use them on a 24-hour daily basis also. But right now we're looking at them as a map of the circles, the seasons of the year. So our keywords: experience, introspection, and strength for the West Gate take us up through October, November, and December. And that then brings us to the North Gate of winter solstice. When the North Gate opens, it opens the gate into winter time, January, February, and March. And the stepping stones that take us back home again are identified as cleansing in January. We clear away any detritus, any debris, anything that's accumulated in our physical, emotional, or spiritual experience all the way back to April. We review and we clear away anything that we no longer require. Then in February, the keyword is renewal for the second stepping stone on the North Gate path. And there we it's understandable. We consider all the ways that we are feeling drawn to the vitality and the life force and the quickening that, like the ice breaking up on the rivers and beginning to flow again, gives us a sense of, yes, I'm ready to go. And lastly, the stone for March represents recognizing how everything is purified now. The winter time has given us that sense of cleansing, clearing, resting, recuperating, rejuvenating, recreating our sense of direction. And as we move into the spring equinox in late March, it opens the door to the east gate, and on we go again. So that is the map for our circadian rhythms of the year. And on a daily basis, we can recognize that we wake up at dawn in the east. We work through the early hours of the day till noon and get to the south, and then we work through the afternoon. And this half of a daily calendar gives us a sense of the dawn to dusk rhythm of movement, outward focus, moving into the direction of our goals, our dreams, our visions, such like. At dusk, we can light a candle, come back home, and realize that from dusk until dawn, we're given the opportunity to rest, regroup, regenerate, recreate our sense of connection to our deep home base. And then at dawn, the next morning, we wake up and begin our travel around the circle of the day. So we've got the circle of the year with the seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter. We've got the circle of the day, morning, afternoon, taking us to evening, evening, deep into the night, the two halves of the day. And of course we can break it down a little further, but we're not doing that at the moment. And that then gives us a wonderful map for each day, kind of like the yin yang. The bottom half of our circle is white, light, outgoing, masculine energy. The top of our circle is dark, inward, nourishing, nurturing energy. And the two together can create a sort of personal yin-yang symbol. I hope that you enjoy this bonus for our 8th session in creating your own career. And just as we've made sure we talk about on a regular basis, everything in creating your own career is based upon the idea that we're working with developing more creation, more connection to all the me's that I've ever been throughout time. And as we develop our gifts and create an environment that supports us, we become ready to move into our connection to others and the we field and how we can connect and collaborate. And as we move into the fall, we want to remember that we're alive and we're part of life, and we spend those 15 minutes a day in our practice connecting to the greater field of life and what life needs from us. We don't just take from life. We also ask, well, what does life need from me? And that leads us then over to our winter quadrant on this little area of our map, and we connect to the deeper mystery of life between winter solstice and spring equinox, the deep mystery of being alive, and the awareness that there's so much that we don't know and so much that we will never know. We call it the mystery of my story, and we continue to move forward in being the existential detective and seeing and sensing and feeling into this beautiful journey, the hero's journey, around the circadian circle, always remembering that we work from home, we work from our heart. I send you much love, and I will talk with you soon.